In this mini lesson, you'll be learning the most common HTML tags that most web designers use and that you'll be using for the majority of the coding in your projects. Before we start though, I want to share a disclaimer. Very few people in this world have memorized the full catalog of valid HTML tags. Your instructors, me included, do not have them memorized, and many professional web designers do not have them memorized. So in this short lesson, you'll learn the most common ones, but for access to websites that will help you with other tag names, I'd like you to use the course resources list. I just hope that this disclaimer might help ease some fears about the knowledge or the memorization it might take to do web design. So here are the important tags that we'll be covering in this mini lesson. The paragraph tag, the heading tags, the unordered list, the ordered list, and the list item tag, the anchor tag that we'll be using for creating links on our web pages, and the image tags and the break tags. Now these specific ones, the image and the break, we have to do something a little bit different. That's why I put those together. So first let's talk about the paragraph tag. The paragraph tag is used for all text that isn't a heading or bulleted list. Basically, when you want to put text on your site and it's just any old text, you're going to use the paragraph tag. So here's an example of the paragraph tag by itself between the opening P tag and the closing P tag. Now once a P tag is closed, the way a paragraph tag works is that the next piece of content will begin on the next line. Okay, and we're going to see how this works in the next slide. So here's an example article from the npr.org webpage. And the blue highlighted paragraph is an example of a single paragraph tag. So the P would have opened before the traditional, and it would have closed after the word cryotherapy. Now after it closes, what you see is that the next paragraph starts on a brand new line. And so we're not jamming all of our text together. By seeing a bunch of different open and closed paragraph tags, the browser is going to understand that you're starting a new line there, and you want some space between your text. We also have heading tags that we'll be using while we code our web pages. If you're familiar with the Microsoft Word styles function, you're going to find the heading tags to be very intuitive in terms of designing a document. So heading 1 through heading 6 tags represent different heading levels. H1 is the largest, and then H2, H3, H4, those go down in size. Obviously, there's going to be useful for creating a typographic hierarchy to designate some important information from maybe less important information, but also to section off your information with titles. So here's an example of how the heading tags look without any kind of styling applied to them, which we're going to talk about in a later video. But heading 1 is obviously the largest, and if you compare it down with heading 6, you can really designate information from very important to just average importance levels. If we look at the Facebook web page, we can kind of see how heading levels were used in its design. So if we assume that the word sign up is using the heading 1 level, that seems to be one of their primary goals with this particular page. The purpose of this page is either to help people get logged in or to sign up new users. In this case, sign up, if we said that's a heading 1 level, we can see where they then made a smaller size text and used the heading 2 level to give subordinate information, maybe a quirky and maybe friendly comment like it's free and it will always be. The next heading level, which we probably can't see much of a difference, is going to be the tags next to the input form. So first name, last name, your name, all of these are probably a heading 3 level since now we're down 3 levels. Now we have one other level of text on the page, and that's the smallest. Right here in this entire link called "Why do I need to provide my birthday?" and then also in this bottom line that says "Create a page for a celebrity, band, or business." Now, I would guess in this case these are not heading tags, but those were paragraph tags that were used there. But we can see that by combining these different heading levels and paragraph tags, we can designate the relative importance of one chunk of text to another chunk of text. Our next tag that we're going to be talking about is our list and list items tags. So let me explain this again. So you have the UL tag, which stands for unordered list. This basically creates a bulleted list. We have an ordered list tag that creates a numbered list. And we have a list item, and that designates when you're putting that list together what is going to be each bullet or what's going to be at each numbered line. And when we create an ordered list, the list items, we don't have to add the numbers in. The browser just automatically sees if there are 5 list items in our list, then it will give it the order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, these are great for providing quick access to information, just as you've probably practiced in regular document design, and for creating navigation menus. And I'll show you how some websites do this. Here's an example from the Iowa State Live Green Initiative website. The first highlighted example we have here is an ordered list where we've put a number of items into a list and the browser has automatically rendered it as a numbered list. In the next example, we have an unordered list. In other words, we didn't want to give ordinal importance to any one of those items, so we're just going to give regular bullets to it. In another example, at the website A List Apart, we can see how they have a menu on top, but that menu is actually an unordered list. Now with styling and positioning, we were able to make that, or they were able to make that list horizontal. And in the next slide, I'll show you what that looks like. So if we remember the titles for this menu here, on the next slide, this is how they would have created this unordered list. They open the list with the UL tag, and then for each list item that they have in that list, they open and close a list item tag until they get to the very bottom when they don't want to add any more content, and they close that with the unordered list tag. The next tag we want to talk about is the A or anchor tag. Basically, the reason it's called an anchor tag is that when you wrap text in anchor tags, it basically anchors the text to a web address. So basically, an A tag creates a link on your web page. There are a number of ways to use anchor tags within a web page, but for our purposes, we're going to be using it specifically to create hyperlinks to outside web pages, either to web pages that we've created ourselves or outside pages such as Facebook or Google, things like that. So what we'll be using is this format right here. So we open the anchor tag with A, and then we have a space, and then we say href, which href will mean hypertext reference. So we're referencing this certain address. So inside those quotes, someaddress.com, this is going to be the link that we're creating. Then we close the opening tag after we give the address that we're going to. We enter in the link text that we'd like for people to see. That's what they will click on, and then we'll close the A tag after link text. So in this case, if we say we reference the address in the tag and wrap it around our link text, that highlighted link text, that's all the user is going to see when they have this tag above in their browser. So that link text is an example of what the link would look like on your page. The last tag set that we're going to talk about today are inline tags, specifically the image tag and the break tag. Now at the beginning of the video I said that we would be doing something different with the inline tags. And that is that inline tags do not require an opening and closing tag, but they only require a closing slash at the end. And we're going to see how to do this in the following list here. Image tags link to image files, or they link to a URL of an image file, and then they'll display those images in your browser. So that's how we get pictures on web pages. This is an example of an image tag that I'm going to come back to at the end, but you can see right here that it doesn't have an opening and closing tag. It's all just one tag on its own. The same with the break tag. And the break tag we don't use a lot, but it allows us to break up a paragraph without opening two different paragraphs. We can have one paragraph tag, and in the middle of the paragraph we might want to put a hard return. We just put that break tag in the middle of that paragraph, and that changes the structure of the paragraph. But let's go back up to this image tag that's listed here, and I'll talk about how it's constructed. So first of all, we open the tag up with the IMG, and a lot like the ahref tag, we do the same thing where we have to point to an address, but in this case, instead of saying href, we say image src, so source. So this is the source that we're pulling from. So we say source equals, and then we give the address or the location or the file name, basically, that we would like displayed here. So in this case, I want it to be called myphoto.jpg. We are assuming that that's on my computer somewhere. The other thing on here is we have an alt tag. So it says alt equals Tom. If we think about the rhetorical situation of all kinds of users using a website, this is an accessibility option that's built into HTML. For people with disabilities who cannot read a screen or have trouble seeing a screen, they have software that can read a web page and render the alt tag that will read out if there's a picture on there. It will tell you what the picture is. In this case, I said Tom is the picture. Now, this probably isn't a great title for somebody who can't see the screen, but at least you're seeing that with an alt tag, you can provide accessibility to people who can't normally read the screen. Again, then with the inline tags, we also just close right at the end. We don't have to have an opening and closing tag. So let's try it out. In the next video, we're going to be opening a text editor and begin to code our first web page.